What's going on, friends? Welcome back to College Sports Corner. It is Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Some people call it Thanksgiving Eve. I don't know. I just call it Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you're not working today. And if you are, hopefully, you get out early. Let's face it, nobody wants to work today. Nobody really wants to work this whole week, but sometimes people have to. That's the way it is. But anyway, hope you get out of there early if you are working today. We're going to do our week 13 preview. Kind of sad time in college football because it is the last full weekend where just about everybody plays. Last time this happened was way back in September. And it won't happen again, unfortunately, until next September. Sad times, I know, but what are you going to do? But we still got championship weekend. And usually on championship weekend, you have more games than that because there's a few teams still finishing up their seasons. And then I think the following weekend we'll have Army Navy. So the season isn't totally dead yet, but it's on its way down, unfortunately. But hey, what are you going to do? All right, so like I said, week 13 preview. Got a few news items here, not too many. Before we start, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Tell your friends and family. Call them up today if they're at work and say, hey, man, instead of working, listen to this idiot talk about college football. You never know. They might like it. They may not. All right, so let's get down to some news. Lane Kiffin denies reports he's leaving Ole Miss for Auburn. Auburn right now under Cadillac Williams seems to be a lot better situation than they were back with Brian Harsin. At least, I guess you'd say in front of the scenes. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? From what I hear on people on TV is that behind the scenes, Auburn is a dumpster fire. Booster issues, problems. Some of them say they got more say than they should. So I don't know why Lane Kiffin would even consider going to Auburn from Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss, he's kind of got it made. He's winning a lot of games. He's getting good players in there. He needs to get probably a few more better ones in there if he wants to compete for a conference championship. No one's bothering him. I think they all like him there. I haven't heard anything different. So why he would even entertain going to Auburn with all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, I don't know. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but he says that he has no interest. Virginia, they're going to go ahead and call it a season. The Virginia Tech game is canceled Saturday. Always goes back to the tragedy that happened there with the 3 students. So, I mean, I don't blame them. If I was in charge, I'd just call the season too. Get on, try to move on with the healing and, just moving towards the future. So sad days there at University of Virginia. Prayers go out to all you guys affiliated with that university. EA Sports, they are eyeing 2024 for the college football video game return. Good news. I forget the last year I have. It might be 11 or 12. Tim Tebow's on the cover. So I think it's Tim Tebow on the cover. I think or it might be 10 or 11 I have. I forget. I have to look in the box. But anyway, hey, they're eyeing 2024, and the game. Each year that game gets better and better. I've got 2004, 2009, and then the other one I can't remember the year. Tebow's on the cover. And each year it gets better and better. So can't wait to see what they put out here when they get it back out. I mean, who knows what it's going to look like. Got some coaches who are gone from the FCS level. Northern Colorado fires Ed McCaffrey. He went 6-16 in 3 seasons. Some allegations and things there. Players say he tampered with scholarships. That ain't good. And he also showed favoritism for players who transferred in from FBS schools. So looks like a lot of things behind the scenes there. Also, some of the assistant coaches said he wasn't preparing right for games. He wouldn't give them game notes or anything about the opposing team. And I think also McCaffrey, I think it was his son that threw a clipboard into the stands or something and it banged off a fan's head. So Northern Colorado, just all kinds of issues going on there. Lamar, down the road from me, over in Beaumont, Texas. Blaine Morgan, he's out as head coach. Another Texas team, West Texas A&M, head coach Hunter Hughes, he is out. So you got 3 FCS schools there looking for coaches, maybe more. Usually, because I think their season's over. They're starting playoffs. So, I'm sure other ones are going to be getting rid of their coach here. Who knows? And little basketball news here. Basketball season has started. We've had a few good matchups. NCAA giving Las Vegas the Final Four in 2028. Well, that's going to be a party-ass situation there, isn't it? In 2028, Final Four in Las Vegas. Man, I can imagine the partying that's going to be going on in that town when that thing happens. All right, so let's get to what's going on this week. We did have 2 games last night. Let's go over those. Miami of Ohio beat Ball State 18-17. Ball State actually led this game by 11 points at halftime. Ball State Steel, 180 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Miami of Ohio's Smith passed for 217 passing yards, touchdown, and he also ran for a touchdown. Miami of Ohio, 10 for 21 on third down. Nice going. And only 2 for 15 on penalties. Only won 18-17, but hey, I guess everything else they handled. Ohio over Bowling Green, 38-14. Bowling Green's Broden, touchdown catch, 44-yard touchdown catch. Ohio's Harris, backup playing, 196 passing yards, threw a touchdown pass, and he also ran for 3 touchdowns. So he had a hell of a game coming in. Bowling Green was 4 for 12 on third down. Ohio, 11 for 18 on third down. Each team only had 2 penalties apiece for under 20 yards. So, man, some of those MAC teams, they know how to do it in the penalty category. Coaches are probably happy. Nothing tonight, but tomorrow night, the annual Thanksgiving game, the Egg Bowl. Battle for Mississippi. Mississippi State at Ole Miss. Mississippi State 7-4. Ole Miss 8-3. Mississippi State averages 398 total yards, where Ole Miss averages 506. Mississippi State, they got a little better passing game, but Ole Miss, way better rushing game, especially with Judkins, the freshman. That guy's pretty freaking incredible. He's rushed for 1,385 yards and 16 touchdowns. For a freshman, it's pretty damn good. And then Mississippi State, you got Will Rogers, 3,474 passing yards, 32 touchdowns. So the Egg Bowl is usually pretty good every year because it's a rivalry game for the Mississippi schools. But I don't know, this year might be a little bit better than usual. So I'll definitely be turning it or checking it out with a full belly and making my belly even fuller with some good beer. So can't wait for that one. That one should be pretty good. Going to Friday, everybody's out shopping. Well, guess what? You got football games on Friday. Actually, some pretty good, decent ones, too. Let's see here. These times are all central now, so adjust accordingly to where you live. The Egg Bowl, 6 p.m. Central on ESPN. I didn't mention that, but it is. Okay, but Friday, 11 a.m. Central on ABC. 9-2 Tulane at 9-2 Cincinnati. Huh? How freaking good that game may be. Tulane, 419 total yards. Cincinnati averaged 398. Tulane has the better rushing. Cincinnati has the better passing. But they both have 2 great quarterbacks. Pratt and Bryant, they are each have got over 2,200 yards passing, and each have over 19 touchdowns. Tulane, we said earlier, Tulane seems to get really good quarterbacks over the years. Pratt, Sean King back in the late 90s. Before him, I forget the guy's name, but he was a good quarterback. So Tulane, Cincinnati, who would have thought? They'd both be 9-2. It might be a good game to check out. Also, 11 a.m. ESPN. Baylor 6-5 at Texas 7-4. Baylor averages 443 total yards. Texas 433. Baylor has both these schools are kind of close and even in the rushing and passing averages. Shapen and Ewers, they got 14 touchdowns. Reese has 14 rushing touchdowns for Baylor. But Texas, they got Robinson, 16 rushing touchdowns. That guy's a freaking beast. 11 a.m. on CBS. Got a Mountain West game. 6-5 Utah State at 8-3 Boise State. Utah State 353 total yards. Boise averages 383. Once again, these two teams, the rushing and passing game averages are pretty even. So I don't know. Utah State just don't seem as good as they have been the last couple of years. So who knows? Boise might take it. 11 a.m. CBS Sports 4-7 Central Michigan at 7-4 Eastern Michigan. Central Michigan 381 total yards. Eastern Michigan 354 is what they average. 11 a.m. ESPNU Toledo 7-4 at Western Michigan 4-7. Toledo averages 414 total yards. Western Michigan 312. Toledo does have a better rushing and passing game than Western Michigan does. I forget what they call this one, Battle in the Desert or something like that, but 2 p.m. Central, FS1. Arizona State 3-8 versus Arizona 4-7. Arizona, they're playing better ball. They really are. They have the last couple of years. They're not going to make a bowl game this year unless something happens with some team. But hey, you win. That's 5-7. That's a hell of a lot better than what they have been doing the last couple of years. So, Arizona State 374 total yards. Arizona averages 461. Arizona's got the way better passing game too. De Laura 3,485 passing yards, 25 touchdowns. He has thrown 12 interceptions, but hey, I guess some people overlook that. Another good game, rivalry game. That's always a pretty good game most years. 7-4, North Carolina State at 9-2, North Carolina. That's 2:30 p.m. Central on ABC. NC State 345 total yards is what they average. North Carolina averages 493. North Carolina, they got the quarterback May. That guy's pretty incredible. 3,614 passing yards, 34 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Damn good ratio. Oh, yeah, he's also rushed for 597 and 5 touchdowns. Downs has 11 touchdown catches for North Carolina. North Carolina, they're going to be in the ACC championship game against Clemson next weekend. If they can win this one, they'll be 10-2. And if they can find a way to beat Clemson, which we have seen, Clemson is beatable. I mean, they've almost lost a couple games, lost to Notre Dame. They could be going to a pretty damn good bowl when the call comes down to it. 2:30 p.m. CBS. Arkansas 6-5 at Missouri 5-6. Missouri trying to get to a bowl game. Arkansas averages 466 total yards. Missouri only averages 362. Arkansas, they got a better rushing game, but actually the passing games averages are not quite even. Arkansas is a little better, but not by much. So, because Arkansas, they got KJ Jefferson, 2,149 passing yards, 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Not too bad. 2:30 p.m. CBS Sports Network. New Mexico 2-9. Colorado State 2-9. New Mexico averages 236 total yards. Only average 110 passing yards a game. Colorado State, they average 284 total yards. Only 90 yards rushing average a game. I mean, these two offenses need some help in the offseason. Hope they find it. But 3 p.m. Big Ten Network. This one's usually a pretty good game. I mean, both teams aren't doing as good as they would like, of course, but still, sometimes it's a good game. Nebraska 3-8 at Iowa 7-4. Nebraska averaging 346 total yards. Iowa only averaging 253 a game. That's crazy, isn't it? Nebraska, though, they do have the better rushing and passing game. Who knows? They could pull an upset on Iowa Senior Day. Let's see here what we got. 3:30 p.m. on Fox. UCLA 8-3 at Cal 4-7. UCLA averages 505 total yards. Cal only averages 365. But Cal, just like Arizona, playing a lot better this year than they have been the last couple of years. Get a few players in there in the offseason. Hey, they might be going to a bowl game next year. UCLA way better in passing and rushing game. I'm sure you've all seen it. Not that much in the passing game though, but way better rushing. GTR, boy, that guy is incredible. 24 touchdowns. Cal's Plummer, he's got 17 touchdowns. So, hey, who knows what could happen? I mean, Arizona beat UCLA. Cal sees that and says, hey, maybe we can do the same thing. Rivalry that's kind of suffered over the years, but I don't know if I don't know what to make of it this year. If it's going to be good or I mean, rivalry games are always different, but I guess we'll see. 6:30 p.m. ABC. Florida 6-5 at Florida State 8-3. Florida 440 total yards. Florida State averages 474. These teams are actually pretty even in the rushing and passing yard averages per game. I guess it just depends on who's going to step up, what defense is going to step up, and all that in this one. But Florida's Richardson, 2,351 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Travis for Florida State, 2,526 passing yards, 21 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. 9 p.m. FS1, Wyoming 7-4 at Fresno State 7-4. Wyoming averages 327 total yards. Fresno averages 418. Wyoming has got the better rushing game, but Fresno State does have the better passing game. And like we said earlier, Virginia Tech, that game canceled. So I guess that was going to be a night game. I don't know. It was the last one on my list. I'm guessing it was going to be a night game, but they canceled it for obvious reasons. That moves us on to Saturday, 11 a.m. ESPN. Georgia Tech 5-6 at Georgia 11-0. Georgia Tech averages 332 total yards a game. Georgia averages 496. Georgia does have the better rushing and passing between these two teams, but Georgia Tech, since they fired what's his name back in what was that September, they're a lot better team. They've beaten teams they shouldn't have. That's their rival. I mean, look at their 5-6, fighting for a slot in the bowl somewhere. They know they got to win this game. Man, could that be just a little more fire to maybe pull an upset? Who knows? Anything can happen in college football. We've seen that over all these years. But the big one everybody's looking forward to, I think, 11 a.m. on Fox. Michigan 11-0 at Ohio State 11-0. Michigan averages 453 total yards. Ohio State averages 493. Michigan does have the slightly better rushing game, but that depends on his Corum going to play. He's got 18 rushing touchdowns this year. He said a couple days ago his knee is good. He'll be good to go. That all depends on coaches and trainers and doctors and all that. So I think a lot of this game's probably going to, Michigan's game at least, is going to depend on if he goes or not. Ohio State, better passing game, obviously. Stroud, 35 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Going to be a good one. Ryan Day tells Ohio State fans, hey, forget revenge talk. Let's just go out and win the game. So, I don't know. Hey, here's another one. If you don't watch, keep your eye on it. 11 a.m. on ABC. South Carolina 7-4 at Clemson 10-1. South Carolina averaging 378 total yards. Clemson averaging 413. Passing games between these two teams are pretty close. Rattler and DJ kind of on the same level a little bit. Of course, if you watch the game Saturday night, Rattler looked like he was a Heisman candidate in that game. Clemson does have the better rushing game. What's his name? Shipley? That guy's pretty damn good. Hey, South Carolina 7-4. You know they would love to end this season 8-4. Keep getting better every year. And Clemson, they lost to Notre Dame, and they've come close to a couple other games. So, South Carolina find a weakness and go in there and pull an upset. Rivalry game. Hey, we'll see. West Virginia 4-7 at Oklahoma State 7-4. That one is 11 a.m. on ESPN2. West Virginia averages 406 total yards. Oklahoma State averages 421. West Virginia, though they do have the slightly better, they do have a slight advantage in the rushing game. They're a little better. Oklahoma State better than the passing game. See which one of those average out. Sanders for Oklahoma State does have better numbers than Daniels does for Virginia. Yardage, touchdowns, all that kind of stuff. 11 a.m. ESPN Plus. Army 4-6 at UMass 1-10. Army averages 384 yards a game. UMass only averages 269. Army got the way better rushing game, like they have for years. They're a ground and pound team. Both passing games for these two teams are horrible though. The yards aren't good. TD catches and all that. Army probably don't care because, like I said, they're a ground and pound team. UMass, you may want to work on that in the offseason, but hey. Let's see here what's next. 11 a.m. ESPN Plus. New Mexico State 4-6 at Liberty 8-3. Liberty, they were on a roll there for a while. Then they started losing games, and now they're 8-3, trying to make a season end on 9-3. Let's see here. New Mexico State, 284 total yards a game is what they average. Liberty averages 408, and they have a way better rushing and passing game than New Mexico State does. 11 a.m. Eastern, or Central, I'm sorry. Central, 11 a.m. Central, Big Ten Network. Rutgers 4-7 at Maryland 6-5. Rutgers averages 296 total yards a game. Maryland averages 100 more, 396. Maryland does have the better rushing and passing game in this one. 11 a.m. Central, ESPNU. Coastal Carolina 9-1 at James Madison 7-3. Coastal Carolina, they average 432 total yards. James Madison averages 448. Pretty even in the rushing and passing games between these two teams. James Madison's, though, how you say his name? Santillo? He's a damn good quarterback. 2,410 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So he's pretty good. See if he can outpass Coastal Carolina's defense. Old Dominion 3-8 at South Alabama 9-2. That is 11 a.m. Central on ESPN Plus. Old Dominion averages 336 total yards a game. South Alabama averages 426. South Alabama does have the better rushing and passing game in this one. The quarterback Bradley, 2,776 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Webb has 13 rushing touchdowns. 11 a.m. Central, ESPN Plus. Georgia State 4-7 at Marshall 7-4. Georgia State averages 422 total yards. Marshall averages 399. They're kind of close in the numbers category in rushing and passing. It looks like Marshall might be a little bit better than Georgia State, but we'll see. 11 a.m. Central Time, CBS Sports Network. Western Kentucky 7-5 at Florida Atlantic 5-6. Western Kentucky, they have Billy Zape last year. Terrific freaking quarterback. They got another terrific quarterback this year. It's crazy that they're 7-5, but Western Kentucky 476 total yards they average. Florida Atlantic averages 407. Actually, both these quarterbacks are good. Reed for Western Kentucky, 3,837 passing yards, 33 touchdowns. Nacasa, I think it's how you say Nacasa. Perry for Florida Atlantic, 2,428 passing yards, 23 touchdowns. Hey, if you like high-flying air raid, this might be your game. Let's see here. Noon Central, ESPN Plus. East Carolina 6-5 at Temple 3-8. East Carolina averages 452 total yards. Temple only averages 330. Another noon game Central, ESPN Plus. Kent State 4-7 at Buffalo 5-5. Kent State 423 total yards they average. Buffalo averages 388. Buffalo, New York, but man, they had a hell of a blizzard snowstorm up there. I want to say one of the reports said in Buffalo Bills Stadium, there's like 6 feet of snow in there. I just wonder what's going to happen I don't know. Maybe I haven't looked at the weather in Buffalo. Maybe it's 70 up there right now. All the snow is melted, but I just wonder if it hasn't, if the weather's going to impact that game there at Buffalo. I guess we'll find out, huh? All right, 12:30 Central, ESPN3. Akron 1-9. Akron is really 1-9. Wow, thought they had one more games than that. Oh. At Northern Illinois 3-8. Akron averages 365 total yards. Northern Illinois averages 383. Well, maybe 1-9 is correct. Very bad rushing game. They average 82 rushing yards a game. If you're gonna be most successful, you gotta be balanced, and they don't look balanced. So I don't know. 1 p.m. Central, ESPN Plus. Rice 5-6 at North Texas 6-5. Rice averages 366 total yards. North Texas averages 482. Rice just one win away from going to a bowl game. They haven't been to a bowl game in quite a few years. Maybe that'll give them enough fire to go up there to Denton and beat North Texas. Who knows? But North Texas, their quarterback, man, he's pretty good. I never know how to say his name. Aune. On. 2,912 passing yards, 29 touchdowns. He's thrown 11 picks, but I don't know. Maybe that'll give Rice enough fire. Going to go back to a bowl game after so long. 2 p.m. Central, SEC Network. Louisville 7-4 at Kentucky 6-5. Louisville averages 414 total yards a game, where Kentucky averages 336. Louisville does have a better rushing game, even though Kentucky got Rodriguez back. Passing games, the averages are kind of even. Levis, though, he does have more passing yards and touchdowns. But, hey, rivalry game. Never know. 2 p.m., ESPN Plus. Troy, 9-2 at Arkansas State, 3-8. Troy averages 368 total yards a game, where Arkansas State averages 320. Both these teams, their passing games are a lot better than their rushing games. So, I don't know. 2:30 p.m. Central, CBS, the Iron Bowl. A few weeks ago, this game looked like, why would I watch this? But all the fire that Cadillac Williams has ignited into that program, and we know Alabama isn't Alabama, the usual Alabama at least. This might be a good game to watch. Hey, that team is fired up, and they love, those players seem to love Cadillac Williams. They probably, they want to go out and win this game for him. And who knows, if he wins this game, Auburn might give him the head coaching job right there in the locker room. So kind of a lot riding on this. Plus Auburn's 5-6. They want to make it to a bowl game. I really believe if Hardison was still coach, they wouldn't be 5-6. They'd be worse than that. So Williams has kind of generated some stuff there. That's pretty awesome for them. So Auburn, they do average only 377 total yards a game, where Alabama averages 472. First downs this year, Auburn has made 196 first downs, Alabama 267. So, the offense, they're better than Auburn. I mean, the Bama offense is a lot better than Auburn. I mean, we'll admit that. But here's a little bit of advantage for Auburn. This year they got 80 penalties for 639 yards, where Bama, they got a few more, 87 penalties for 746 yards. So if Auburn can play a good game, keep the penalties down, Alabama continues with their, 1,000 penalties a game, could be an upset. Not saying it is, but hey. Another big rivalry out in the Pacific Northwest. Civil War, I think they call it. Oregon 9-2 at Oregon State 8-3. Might be good. That was also at 2:30 Central, but it's on ABC. Oregon averages 511 total yards. Oregon State averages 406. Oregon does have the better passing game, but the rushing games between these two teams pretty damn close. Both teams have over 620 yards of penalties this year. Hey, might be a good one. Another rivalry. Illinois 7-4 and Northwestern 1-10. Illinois averaged 395 total yards a game. Northwestern averages 337. Passing games are actually close. These two teams play a close passing game. Illinois does have the better rushing game. Hey, keep an eye on this one. Northwestern, their last win was back in August against Nebraska in Ireland. They're playing at home, playing there in Evanston. You know they want to finish the year out with a win. Hey, let's win our first game. Let's win our last game, boys. And Illinois, they're just not playing the way they were the last couple of weeks, as opposed to the rest of the season. Though they did give Michigan a game last week. That was pretty impressive. So, hey, maybe Pat Fitz says, hey, guys, the season sucks, but let's end it on a high note. Let's win in our own backyard. Like I always say, if you don't watch it, keep an eye on the score. Minnesota 7-4, Wisconsin 6-5. That is on ESPN, 2:30 Central. Minnesota averages 403 total yards. Wisconsin averages 365. Minnesota is better in the rushing game, which is not surprising with Mo Ibrahim back there. This one, I think they call it the Old Oak and Bucket game. I think that's this game. Purdue 7-4 at Indiana 4-7. Purdue averages 408 total yards a game. Indiana averages 320. That is on 2:30 p.m. Central Time on Big Ten Network. Wake Forest 7-4 at Duke 7-4. 2:30 p.m. No TV listed, which is a shame. I mean, they're both decent teams. I don't know why it wouldn't be on TV somewhere. Maybe on ACC Network. If it is, it's not. It wasn't listed when I got all these. Wake Forest 447 total yards. Duke averages 413. Both good quarterbacks. I mean, we know about Sam Hartman for Wake Forest. 3,074 passing yards, 32 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. But for Duke, a lot of people don't pay attention to Duke football. Leonard, he's a really good quarterback. 2,403 passing yards, 16 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. But he's also rushed for 621 yards and 11 touchdowns. So, there you go. Hawaii, 3-9 at San Jose State, 6-4. 2:30 p.m., no TV listed. Hawaii averages 349 total yards. San Jose State averages 352. Hawaii is slightly better in the rushing game, but San Jose State is way better in the passing game. All right, moving along here. 2:30 p.m. Central, no TV listed. Memphis 6-5 at SMU 6-5. Memphis averages 420 a game. SMU averages 485 total yards. Both good quarterbacks here. Both have over 3,000 yards passing and over 17 touchdowns. So it could be a shootout. UAB 5-6 and Louisiana Tech 3-8. That is 2:30 p.m. Central, CBS Sports Network. UAB averages 437 total yards a game. Louisiana Tech averages 385. 2:30 p.m. No TV listed. UTEP 5-6 at UTSA 9-2. UTEP averages 375 total yards. UTSA averages 481. UTSA way better in rushing, way better in passing because Harris is pretty incredible. Harris has 3,142 passing yards, 24 touchdowns this year. That guy's pretty damn good. I don't know if he was here last year, so I don't know if he's a junior or senior this year. It'd be pretty cool if he was only a junior, but I think he's a senior. Iowa State 4-7 at TCU 11-0. Could be a trap game. 3 p.m. Central on Fox. Iowa State averages 373 total yards. TCU 482. TCU's Dugan 26 touchdowns. Miller 14 rushing touchdowns. Not saying it's a trap game, but as you win, I think we all know the season goes on and you win. And you win by the hair of your chinny chin chin like TCU did last week. You get overconfident, think you can just show up, throw your helmet out on the field and win. Not saying it's a trap game, but it's got the possibility of maybe being one. So they are playing there in Fort Worth. So, and Iowa State's not as good as they have been. But like we say, Keep an eye on that score. Utah 8-3 at Colorado 1-10. Utah averages 450 total yards. Colorado only averages 290. Utah obviously got the better passing game. Rushing game is a lot better too. That will be 3 p.m. Central on Pac-12 Network. Michigan State 5-6 at Penn State 9-2. It's a shame Michigan State's not better because this could be a really good game. That one's 3 p.m. Central on FS1. Michigan State averages 362 total yards. Penn State averages 435. 4 p.m. Central, ESPN Plus. Southern Miss 5-6 at UL Monroe 4-7. Southern Miss averages 322 total yards. Louisiana Monroe averages 334. Let's see here. 4 p.m. Central, ESPN Plus. Louisiana 5-6 at Texas State 4-7. Louisiana averages 362 total yards. Texas State only averages 322. 5 p.m. Central. Doesn't say anything about TV. Battle for the state of Nevada. Nevada 2-9 at UNLV 4-7. UNLV is an improved team. They really are this year. Looks like they're not going to make a bowl game, but hey, something to play off going into next year. So Nevada 291 total yards a game. UNLV averages 354. 5 p.m. Central, ESPN Plus. Appalachian State 6-5 at Georgia Southern 5-6. Appalachian State averages 440 total yards a game. Georgia Southern averages 467. Both quarterbacks in this game have over 2,600 passing yards and over 21 touchdowns in this. So I don't know. Appalachian State. Remember they're the darlings there for a few weeks, and they've kind of just fallen off the map. Middle Tennessee 5-6 at Florida International 4-7. That is at 5 p.m. Central on ESPN3. Middle Tennessee averages 385 total yards a game. Florida International averages 308. 6 p.m. Central, ESPN. LSU 9-2 at Texas A&M 4-7. LSU averages 438 total yards a game. A&M averages 356. We all know about Daniels for LSU, 15 passing touchdowns, 11 rushing touchdowns. Evidently, Texas A&M's talking crap. As a Texas A&M fan, I got to say you have no business talking crap. You just need to shut up and play the way y'all played this year and been coached. So, as an Aggie fan, I advise the Aggies, just shut up and play the game. I mean, you have no business to talk. Probably get a knock on my door from some A&M players. Hey, I'll tell them right there too. Shut your mouths and then freaking play the game. Let's see here. 6 p.m. Central, ESPN2. Central Florida 8-3 at South Florida 1-10. Central Florida averages 481 total yards. South Florida averages 387. Kind of crazy. Central Florida 8-3, South Florida 1-10. But both these teams are they're pretty close in both passing numbers and rushing numbers. And you hear that, and you hear, see Central Florida 8-3, say, well, that's the fact why South Florida 1-10. Couldn't tell you. I haven't watched any South Florida games this year. Maybe their defense sucks. I don't know. Some of you out there might know. Okay, this one here, this is going to be interesting. 6:30 p.m. Central, SEC Network. Tennessee 9-2 at Vanderbilt, 5-6. Tennessee averages 540. Vanderbilt averages 356 a game. We all know the sad news. Hooker, he's out with an ACL injury. With him, this game, Tennessee is way better in passing. Backup last week, I forget his name, was a Milton or something. He didn't look that bad, but is he a Hendon? Can he do what Hendon Hooker does? And because the rushing games for both these teams are pretty close. So, Vanderbilt having a good season for once. Back-to-back SEC wins for the first time in a long time. Playing at home at 5-6. Looking for that bowl game that's been elusive for a while. Man, can they do it? This could be a very interesting game. It would be a really, really interesting game. So, if you don't know what to watch that night, hey, tune into that one for a little bit and see what's going on. Notre Dame 8-3 at USC 10-1. 6:30 p.m. Central, ABC. Notre Dame averages 380 total yards a game. USC averages 513. Rushing games for these two teams are pretty close, but USC dominates passing. Williams, 3,480 passing yards, 33 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. That was a hell of a job there. But Notre Dame, they are playing better than they were. Remember they had that game back in September, kept it close with Ohio State, and they kind of fell off the map. But they jumped back on the map. They beat Clemson, winning games. They can make this interesting. Who knows? Two very disappointing Big 12 teams this year. Oklahoma 6-5 at Texas Tech 6-5. That is 6:30 p.m. Central on FS1. Oklahoma averages 454 total yards a game. Texas Tech averages 447. Oklahoma's got a better rushing game, but Texas Tech does have a better passing game. So what could be the difference in this game? Penalties, maybe? Texas Tech, 62 penalties this year for 498. OU, 63 penalties this year for 575. This may be one of those games, flip a coin. I don't know. Syracuse 6-5 at Boston College 3-8. Boy, Syracuse was having a great year until they hit that roadblock at Clemson. That is 6:30 p.m. Central, ESPN3. Syracuse, they average 360 total yards a game. Boston College averages 308. Both average under 247 yards passing a game. Boston College, they only average 61 yards rushing. So, I don't know. I don't know if Boston College can pull another upset, but who knows? They may be high from the last one, and who knows? Tulsa 4-7 and Houston 7-4. Houston not having the year that they thought they were going to have. Tulsa averages 410 total yards a game. Houston averages 460. That game is 6:30 p.m. Central on ESPNU. 7 p.m. Fox. Battle for the Sunshine State. I think that's what they call it. This might be a good game. Kansas 6-5 at Kansas State 8-3. Kansas averaging 435 total yards a game. Kansas State averaging 420. These teams are kind of close in rushing and passing. Rivalry game. Kansas is doing a hell of a lot better than they have been, so they're on a high. They would love to get past that 6 win and get to 7-5 and against their rival. Kansas, I think Daniels is back. I think he came back last week and did pretty good. Numbers wise, they got beat, but yeah, man, keep it, like I said, keep an eye on this score. This could be an interesting game too. 7 p.m. Central, ACC Network. Pittsburgh 7-4 at Miami 5-6. Pittsburgh 393 total yards a game. Miami averages 367. How do you say his name? Anaconda for Pittsburgh. Anaconda, 1,320 rushing yards, 18 touchdowns. The interesting thing about this game, will Miami have more fans at this game because people have family in town? Because if you ever watch their home games, it's like a freaking desert island. So, can they get more people in that stadium because family might be in town for Thanksgiving? Interesting. Something to keep an eye on. Air Force 8-3 at San Diego State 7-4. May not be a bad game. 8 p.m. Central, CBS Sports Network. Air Force averaging 410 total yards a game. San Diego State averaging 334. Air Force, they got a great rushing game. They average 337 rushing yards a game. So they do it ground and pound. Also, the good old Apple Cup. This is usually a pretty good game. Washington 9-2 at Washington State 7-4. There's one of your late games. 9:30 p.m. Central on ESPN. There we go. Good way to end the regular football season. Washington averages 505 total yards a game. Washington State averages 370. Washington, better rushing and passing game than Washington State. They got Penix Jr. That guy's incredible. 3,869 passing yards, 26 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Ward, on the other hand, from Washington State, He's not bad either. 2,772 passing yards, 21 touchdowns. Apple Cup could be good again this year. And if you're not a fan of those teams, well, you got another late game. Don't know how you'll feel about it. 10 p.m. Central, FS1. BYU 6-5 at Stanford 3-8. BYU averages 439 total yards a game. Stanford averages 361. Passing games between these two teams the numbers are close, but BYU has a way better rushing game. So if the Apple Cup isn't your cup of tea, or you just don't like those teams, but you want to watch some football, BYU and Stanford might be your game. So, all right, so that is it. That's it for this review show. Like I said, if you're at work, man, I hope y'all are leaving here soon. Nobody wants to work today. Have a great Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, be safe. Get to your destination safe. Hope you get back home safe. Hope you have a great weekend, man. Eat as much as you can. Enjoy some great football. We'll be back. It's either going to be Sunday or Monday to review everything that happened over these next few days. So anyway, once again, have a great Thanksgiving. Have a great time with your family and friends, and we'll see you next time.